welcome to a new video. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Sydney. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys our house tour. So my husband and I bought our house about almost 9 months ago, 8.5 months ago, and I filmed an empty house tour, so I will leave that up above if you want to check it out. And I also filmed a house tour of the townhouse we lived in previously just before moving. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely check out the videos linked. But I figured it was finally time to share with you guys what the house looks like after moving. I did do some unpacking and organization videos when I first moved in, and now it's time to show you what it looks like, because it definitely looks different with furniture in it. So when you first walk in, you are in my foyer, so you can go upstairs or you can go downstairs. When you walk in, we have a powder room, and so I'm going to show you guys that. When we moved, we didn't have a mirror because the previous owner had put that one up and liked it and took it with her, so it took me a while to get a new mirror, but nothing too crazy has happened in the powder room since we moved. So other than the mirror, we haven't done a whole lot in here, but we are planning on painting it, and I'm going for a very bold color that I don't really feel like I can pull off anywhere else with the kind of style and colors that we have in the house. So I'm going for a dark teal, and I'm toying between these two colors. I think we had a decision, but we put them away, so I can't remember. So we have, they're both bare. This is Tsunami. This is Ocean Abyss, but I love both of them. And I'm gonna do all the walls, and then I'm gonna contemplate doing this ceiling, which I know is daring, but I think it'd be really cool. And it's such a small powder room, you just close the door, you don't have to see it. So outside of the powder room, we have our hallway closet, which I'm not gonna open. It just basically has coats and shoes and stuff in it. And then across from that, I have a full-length mirror that we used to have in the foyer at our townhouse. And it's like the perfect spot there because you can check yourself on the way out. All right, and now we have the dining room, and this room has gone through several transformations already. You guys would have seen that I painted our accent wall. It was like a darker blue, and now I have a beautiful green color. And then we have our dining table, which was actually one of the housewarming gifts from Scott's grandfather when we moved in together in our old place. And right now it's centered in the room underneath the light, but we have a Murphy bed here. So when the Murphy bed is in use, we just kind of slide the table towards the window. We have our bar over here. We have a little like travel gallery wall. We have our glass cabinet. Again, if you're a longtime viewer, you would have seen that originally in our townhouse, we had two very long IKEA shelves covered in glassware. Scott and I like to collect glasses from breweries and different places that we visit. All right, when you're standing in the dining room door frame and looking straight across the house, you can see into our living room and seeing our giant projector screen. Now, funny story, Scott and I actually bought this projector screen just over a year ago. I think we bought it last October, before we had any idea we were gonna buy a house and move. And I will say, that is probably the hardest piece to try and find a house that it fits in, but thankfully, this house makes it work. So like I said, the biggest feature of our living room is definitely the projector screen and our very large couch, which was probably one of the best things Scott and I ever purchased. The projector, I think, was our very first big purchase. We moved in together, and then the couch was the next one, but the couch took about 6 or 7 months before we actually purchased it. We used some love seats and couches from family and friends for a bit, but this takes up a good portion of the room. And we were actually worried it wasn't gonna fit, because when you walk in with that ledge, we weren't sure if the depth between the ledge and the depth between the framing and the back of the couch would be a hindrance into the kitchen, but it's actually perfection. So in front of the projector screen, looking back, you can see our two bookcases, again, our couch and a side table. You'll notice that we have our vacuum in the corner there, which was the absolute perfect spot for it. And we have a couple of extra bar height stools that are in our living room right now. Those are the ones I originally bought when we redid the island, or we added the island extension, but they were too tall for what we were doing. So those will eventually go into the basement when we finally set up our dartboard, which hasn't been a priority for us yet. But so far they've come in super handy when we have guests. Our couch is a pull-out couch, so there's leg room for days, which again is fantastic, and our ottoman is stuffed with games. I love having a storage ottoman. Obviously you can put blankets and stuff in it. You'll see that I have a bucket of blankets behind the couch as well as one on the couch. And then we have the blue chair. It is so incredibly comfortable and it kicks back. And then you turn into our kitchen. So here is the overview of our kitchen. Honestly, this is one of the highlights of the house for us. Other than all the natural light that comes in, we did not have a lot of natural light in our old house. And like we were aware of it, but living here, we are so much more aware of it. But we absolutely love having the kitchen facing the living room because Scott spends a lot of time in the kitchen. And it means that we can talk. If we have guests over, we don't have to be kind of hidden away because our kitchen before was tucked all itself. So if you were socializing, the person had to come into the kitchen with you, or you had to leave the kitchen to socialize. So honestly, this has been the greatest thing ever. This is the island extension that we built. We got a really nice piece of wood. We got some cool hairpin legs, and then again, stools that fit under it perfectly. And that, probably the greatest thing we ever did to this kitchen. Another bonus of this kitchen is that we have so much counter space. We had so little counter space at the townhouse, and it definitely drove us absolutely bonkers. So the island extension has also been very handy for that. So we have more of an eat-in kitchen because we do like to eat in the dining room, just the two of us. But when you're just having a snack or you're, again, just having something quick, it's just super, super convenient. We brought the island from our townhouse. It got a little beat up in the move, unfortunately, and we just haven't gone around to fixing it yet. The structure itself is fine. It's the drawer that's like sagging really poorly on one side. So here's the island. We've kind of made it a drinks island again. So we have the Keurig, which unfortunately died on us last weekend, and we're going to try and fix it, but pray for my Keurig because I don't know if it's going to be resuscitated. But we have some soda stream stuff. We have tea and coffee things. I have my pull-out pantry that I made during the pandemic that's absolutely loaded with teas, but again, it fit perfectly over here. I hung this painting, which used to be above our couch, but given that we don't have a wall behind the couch anymore and the only wall space we have is for the projector, we did contemplate putting it in the bedroom, which you'll see when we go upstairs. But because red is the accent color of our kitchen, I thought it just looked so nice right here, and the clock fit really nicely beside it. And then again, we have our little mini fridge, which is typically just a beverage fridge, and we've converted the freezer to being the actual ice freezer because we have so many different ice molds, it just made sense. All right, and now I'm gonna take you down to our basement. We did hang a little coat rack right here. If we have additional guests, we can hang their stuff there if there's no room in the closet. We have our garage, which I'm not gonna show you guys. It's a bit of a hot mess at the moment. And I also told you when we moved the empty house tour that we took the door off the basement and we said we we're gonna put it back. We will not be putting it back. It is so much better without it. There's so much more flow, and we're not really having any issues with the heat or air conditioning being less effective with having it open. So let's go downstairs. All right, in some other organizing vlogs when we first moved, you guys would have seen our downstairs landing. So we moved one of our old bookcases down here, and this has a lot of the classroom books I used to have when I taught grade 4. I was originally tutoring my neighbor's daughter who was in grade 4, and we were working on reading, so I figured I'd put these out for us to take a look at. And I also, there's a lot of those books I want to read. I really do enjoy like young adult novels. So this is my puzzle zone. I have my stool, and again, for any longtime viewers, I have half of Mandy down here, Mandy the mannequin. She hasn't really found a home yet, but I don't want to give her up. I also have my printer here because again, it was kind of a nuisance in my office. All right, behind door number 1 is our storage closet, and this was definitely, again, a huge selling point for Scott and I. In the townhouse, our basement was an absolute disaster. It was unfinished, and it was just one big open room, including our laundry room and storage room and clothing room and all that kind of stuff. So having a designated space down here, so the basement is, I would say, like 50% finished. So the main corridor that you can see that's open is finished, and then all the cupboards are unfinished. All right, so it definitely looks very different compared to when it was empty, and it's not in its neatest state at the moment. So I took down all of our Halloween decorations like the next day, but I still have all of my fall decor up, and I'm switching over to Christmas, and I'm so excited. So we have a lot of stuff just kind of thrown in here right now. It's gonna be reorganized when I swap over from fall to Christmas. We also have a freezer that we just moved down here because we do a beef order with some family and that came in, so we needed a little bit more space. So that's just behind the door. But honestly, these shelves have been amazing. I would 100% recommend them. Not at their current price, but if you need solid storage, these are solid storage. And at one point, the whole middle floor was absolutely pristine because I worked very hard to get it clean, because if you guys know, the basement used to be my arch nemesis at our old house. I could never keep it clean. It was one of those places, it was just always an absolute crapshoot. We have 2 more doors here. I call this one my Harry Potter cupboard. And again, you would have seen a little bit more of it in a organizing video, but it's basically just old boxes of things, like appliance boxes that are just easier to pack in them, old bedding, and miscellaneous stuff like that that I have no need to really access very often, so it's tucked under there. So this next room you will definitely have seen before if you've been on my channel, and if you're on my Instagram, I have a reel creating this space. So this is a rough in for a 4th bathroom. Scott and I went from 1 bathroom to 3 bathrooms here, and we really don't need a 4th. So because I have a lot of clothing storage, and we have a lot of out-of-season clothing, I figured we needed an out-of-season space. So I completely revamped the space with all kinds of clothing storage, shoe storage, and everything else. And I have my bags in here for the most part, and we have a few more things that we want to kind of clean out and purge, but we're just not in a rush just yet. And it has been the best thing ever. All right, and last but not least is the gym area of our basement. So I walked you through what we thought it was gonna look like, and it basically turned out exactly how we anticipated. All right, so our wide open space has our TRX bands, we have a punching bag, we have a whole bunch of floor mats for getting floor exercises and just protecting the floor in general. We have the weight rack, we have yoga things, which obviously are for me. We've got a lot of stuff down here. Now, have we been that great at using it? Not as much as I thought I would. I was so keen when we moved in that I was gonna be down here all the time because it's bright, it's not freezing like our old place, but that's a motivation issue, and it's just a great space. And then our small nook is what has the treadmill, and we keep it kind of up for the most part. And this is the space that may or may not change over time. If we need some more like living space or office space or something, this could be a potential spot. We would just move the treadmill to where the TRX bands are, just kind of carabiner them up if someone's using the treadmill, because we can put bookcases down here, we can make a mini library. There's so many things we could do down here. All right, let's head upstairs. We're gonna stop at the landing so you can see our gallery wall, which again, I have a reel for. So if you haven't already, I have 2 different Instagram accounts. My main account, which you can find here, and then our home account, where I'm trying to add a little more pizzazz to our place and sharing it there. So reasonably, this is probably the darkest part of the house when we don't have the overhead light on, which is pathetic light to begin with. But I figured I'd turn it on so you guys could see a little bit of the gallery wall behind us. The theme of this was actually Scott's idea, and it was to kind of show our relationship over time. So we have our wedding guest book in the middle, we have wedding photos, engagement photos, photos at friends and family's wedding, and just some photos from when we very first met. And then when you come upstairs to your right, we immediately have the laundry room, which is also a game changer, having it on the upper level. All right, so in the last video you guys saw, we had the old machines from the old owner, but we had new machines, so we passed those along to my dad. Now, the only downside to having ours in versus theirs is we actually lost the shelf, the second shelf that she had set up, but as you can see, we've done nothing about that yet. But our machines are perfect. I actually prefer them being elevated because they're both on pedestals. And I have some like extra bed linen up top. Mostly the green set is for the Murphy bed. I have a couple of shower curtains if we want to change them. And then a couple of them were like miscellaneous sheets that we used to have when people would stay on the pull-out couch before we had the Murphy bed. And then over to the right of my dryer, we have just like a plastic shelving unit. It's not ideal. Eventually, I would love to have upper cabinets, maybe just over here, maybe over here. We don't really know. It's kind of somewhere in the future. We don't have a linen closet in this house. So the laundry room also acts as a linen closet, which is what that stuff tends to be. Now, a lot of the stuff that we did have in the linen closet, because we now have multiple bathrooms with more shelving and more under sink storage, a lot of it has been dispersed where needed, but I would like to take care of that. And then along the wall, we've got a bunch of hampers and stuff that obviously are only in use if we have some clean laundry or some dirty laundry to sort. We keep our step ladder up here right now, as well as our mop. And then on the inside of the door here along the wall, I have a drying rack which secures to the wall, which is amazing because I wanted a drying rack for things that, you know, need to hang to dry. And I like that it's collapsible. All right, so the first room that you come to is the primary bedroom, which is ginormous. Like, we have a king size bed and it looks kind of dwarfed in here. But you know what? Not complaining at all. We have two really bright windows, which I love. Along this wall here, I have my Calyx unit, and it's got all of my folded clothes. Now, because we have a walk-in closet, which I'm so excited to show you guys, I have a lot more hanging space, so I was able to kind of rejig some of the things that were in my Calyx unit, but those buckets are still overflowing. All right, so this is the walk-in closet, pretty much of dreams, because there's just so much space in it. And I love, again, there's just so much hanging space because it really allowed for us to kind of get everything where it needed to be. So Scott does not have nearly as many clothes as me. What a shocker. So this section right here is his. Usually his t-shirts and stuff are folded here. I kind of organize them because there's some tees that he like always gravitates towards. So I always make sure that there's a nice pile of those for him to find. And then we've got basically his short sleeve button-ups and his plaids, because it appears that that's the only two styles of shirts, long sleeve shirts or shirts in general, my husband has. Along the bottom, I've got belts, I've got some scarves, and then I have everything from bodysuits to long sleeve polos, long sleeve plaids. And then this piece right here is folded storage for Scott. So swim trunks, underwear, sweatpants, jeans, that kind of stuff. And again, he doesn't have a ton of them, so they fit really nicely. And then there's a few things just along the top that are stuff that he doesn't gravitate towards too much, or sometimes I like to wear, but I don't want to fit them into my drawers in space, so I just kind of keep them over here because I know that technically they're his shirts. And then my stuff, the rest of my stuff, is tucked over here, so I'm gonna get out of the way for a second. So I have all of my pants. I have some sweaters at the top as well, but I've got like shorts and skirts right here. Then I've got, they are organized. I'm actually pretty happy with how it looks. So I've got like the navy and the burgundy pink pants. I've got the blacks and the grays. I've got the beiges and the browns. I've got the greens. And then I have like sweatpants, yoga pants. And then in the blue bucket, I have just general leggings and stuff. And then underneath, tucked to the bottom, I have socks. And then here I've got some hanging skirts. Underneath, I've got cardigans and blazers, and then tucked over on this side, I have all of my dresses and jumpsuits. And last but least, for the primary bedroom, we have the ensuite. Now, we jokingly call this Scott's bathroom because 99% of the time he's the only one that uses it. I tend to gravitate towards the guest bathroom, seeing as it's just across from my office, but this is the shower that he uses. And basically most things in here are his. Nothing crazy, it's the perfect size. And then when you continue down the hallway, we get to Scott's office, my office, and the guest bathroom. So let's go check out Scott's office. All right, so this is Scotty's office. It's, I think I mentioned in the empty house tour, the blue walls here are so reminiscent of the color of his walls at his parents' place that he grew up in, that it just seemed appropriate that he had this one. Again, he's got two nice windows, which let in just enough light for him that doesn't screw up his screen. And we can see the many desks that my husband has. All right, so his main desk is over here with his tower computer, his gaming chair, and his beautiful monitors, his monitor setup that makes him so happy. And then again, he used to have a Calyx unit in our closet at the old house, but we didn't need it anymore with the space that we had in this one, so he's now kind of transformed it into storage for other things he has. His magic cards, old textbooks, any of the books he's picking up. And we also have a wheeled cart from Michael's, which I was very jealous when he picked it up because it's one I wanted, but I couldn't justify it, but it's worked perfectly for him. All right, and now we have the guest bathroom. My bathroom. It is my bathroom for the foreseeable future, and I actually painted this wall. Actually, I painted kind of this half of the bathroom. I believe this was Selene Gold or something like that. You can check my video where I shared that. But this is, I painted this, the shower ceiling along with the dining room wall all at the same time, and it made such a difference. So this room was the same kind of blue of Scott's office and what I kept over here, but because I have yellow towels that match this color so well, I didn't want them kind of blending into the wall, so I really liked the way the blue looked on these two walls. So I kept it, and I was able to find the the face cloths and the bath mats that matched that towel set. I've never found the hand towels, but I have some light gray ones that work just as well. And last but not least, the space you guys have seen the most over the last 8 months has been my office, and not a lot has changed since I did my office reveal. I have my big mirror. I basically have, oh, the one thing that's changed is that I have a pop-up desk, which I'm sure if you've been watching some of the vlogs, you would have heard how we had to replace drywall and patch things, and we haven't put it up yet. And at this point, I just don't know if I'm gonna bother. As much as I miss having the space, I don't want to compromise where I was putting it, and I'm kind of limited and I can't really comprehend it being asymmetrical under the window. It would actually probably drive me absolutely barking mad. So it's just kind of sat up against the wall for now, mocking me. But yeah, if you want like a more in-depth tour of my office or of maybe the kitchen, let me know. I want to redo the cupboards in the kitchen, so I was not prepared to share them today because they are not in their best form. But if you'd like to see more of the office, definitely let me know. But I really find it has a great amount of space, and I've gotten used to it being a square versus a rectangle of my old house. I have my electric fireplace, and I'm so excited to get my pencil tree up again. I haven't really done anything with my pencil tree for the last couple of years. It's always been like my little office tree, so I'm very excited to have that up. And my black wheeled unit kind of just morphs into being whatever I need it to be at the given time. And this is my space. This is, I get a lot done here some days, and some days I don't get anything done at all. But I do enjoy having my own space here, and that's one thing that has always really worked well for Scott and I. I know that given that we both have desktop computers and not laptops, I think that makes a big difference for us. We can't really just be anywhere with them, but we really found for like our relationship that having 2 separate office spaces for ourselves has been absolutely amazing. Have our own separate space when we need it. And that is the house tour. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoy watching people's house tours, empty house tours, decorated house tours, all of them. I love seeing different layouts of people's houses and just how people kind of fill in their space. So you can kind of compare what the house looks like to our townhouse. Some things are very much similar, some things are very, very different. So don't forget to check out the empty house tour and our old place house tour. And I will see you guys in next week's video. See ya!